Good evening, fans from around the world. My name is Afolabi, and this is Global Politics. And with me tonight is Mustafa Dinodu and Warifa Marcos. And this evening, we're going to be discussing the formation of a Sahel alliance with the West African countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. All these countries are governed by military juntas. They have rejected ECOWAS and formed a new alliance called the Alliance of Sahel States, formalized with a confederation treaty on recently. So you guys can hop in.
Okay. Thank you. So I've been saying this for a long time now, in that we need an African Union, but we also need to have regional unions. So Southern Africa needs to have its own region. Eastern Africa needs to have it. Morocco, Algeria, those parts. Sahel, because Morocco and Algeria, they don't see themselves as part of Niger. But then we need to have West Africa, and then Central Africa. We need to have different unions. Then you have the major union, and it's sort of like Nigeria, which has states and federation. Your first loyalty is to your state. So what I'm saying is that what these guys are doing, because they're by each other and they're close to each other, and all of them share military government. Yeah. They're close to each other, so they start. But also, other African countries are willing to join them. But I'm very sure that ECOWAS and these guys are insulting them. And my point being is, why? Is it because of your masters in Britain or England? What's your thought, Afolabi? Then we'll go to Warif. Yeah.
I quite agree with you. ECOWAS has steadily and progressively lost its influence. You know, a group that started in 1975 with 15 West African countries has reduced to 12. And gradually, it's been about selfish and, self-interest over the years. So it hasn't been as strong as it was in the past. And now this...
and that was during time when Nigeria had military rule and things like that. Or I don't know, in 75, do we have military rule then? I don't know.
Yes, but it was military. It was military. I think
and we were Pan-Africanist.
Yeah.
Murtala Mohammed, I remember that. Yes, he said that if South Africa flies a plane over Nigeria or Rhodesia when they were white governments, he will shoot it down. Yeah, but now absolutely. It seems like ECOWAS belongs to IMF. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so the new Sahel alliance threatens decades of West African integration facilitated by ECOWAS. It poses a significant challenge to the regional bloc. And then there's problem now because stability and unity will now be compromised. You know, all the initiatives like counter-terrorism efforts will not be as united as they are, and it's going to affect the strength of West Africa as a whole. But the truth of the matter is the junta chiefs, those are the military, the Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. They feel that because they have a common, problem, they are all former French colonies. Because they have a common problem, they feel it makes sense for them to come together as a unit, and they feel that the fight against imperialism will be more strategic if they come together as a unit, especially when ECOWAS is not as strong as it used to be. Yeah. And basically, ECOWAS recently has been looking like everybody is basically concerned with his own personal issues and problems. And most of the countries are so corrupt, really. Most of
so let me add one point.
ECOWAS countries are so corrupt.
Let me add one point. During the time when Niger and Burkina Faso kicked the French out, ECOWAS castigated them and actually kicked them out. They kicked out those three countries. They said, you can't be part of us. Remember that when they fought the French and they were banned. So we have to remember that ECOWAS rejected them because they fought the French. But ECOWAS used the excuse that they had military government. But let's remember that when Nigeria had coups, other West African nations did not say, we're no longer part of Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? What are your thoughts, Wari? What are your thoughts? While you're not talking, you can pause, you can mute. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. No, but the noise is not from my side anyway.
Oh, okay, maybe. Okay, I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, continue, Warif. What are your thoughts? What we're saying,
this ECOWAS, like Labia said, their interest is just selfish. They're just after what they will benefit from the countries, their member states, not about the citizens, but just the members of ECOWAS. Now, if somebody said, after all, even the military people, that the countries that are ruled by the military, they are sovereignty states. So if somebody said, I don't want to be part of you, why would you insult the person, or why would you want to force the person?
It's not by force, especially since you don't agree with their politics.
It's not by force.
Yeah.
And again, if he was the chairman of ECOWAS, which you all know who the chairman is, the president of Nigeria, how is he contributing to ECOWAS? But because of maybe what they are gaining from Nigeria, that is why they are putting him as the chairman of ECOWAS and trying to benefit from the Nigerian military when it comes to foot soldiers, if they have anywhere they need to go for peacekeeping force. So I don't see if they are for now, even if you want to you want to talk to the military guys, you don't use diplomat. You have to use simple words in talking to them.
Yeah.
Not using force.
But also, I have to say something though. Go ahead. Sorry, continue. I will finish your thought. Sorry. Yeah.
These guys are military guys. When as a military personnel, once you use force, they'll be ready for you. That's what they are trained for. So they shouldn't just and again, I believe the citizens, they are backing these military guys.
I was about to say that the citizens are backing the military, and I hate to say this, but look what happened to Libya. The U.S. killed Gaddafi. They destroyed him. So now that's teaching these other people in the Sahel that they need to have military government, which is undemocratic. But my argument is, I hate to say this, when your enemies are out to get you, that's a state of emergency. That means you need to have a military government until there's full peace. What do you think, Afolabi?
Yes, I agree with you. And now there seems to be no going back because there's like a policy that has been drafted to endorse the formation of this alliance. I think there was a meeting held in some time ago. So it appears that all of them are united against the foreign imperial powers. The leaders accuse foreign powers, particularly France. France is public enemy number one of exploiting their countries and meddling in their affairs. This reflects a broader sentiment of resistance against neo-colonial influence. It's basically
and just yesterday, the French general said that we share common goals with the Sahel countries, so we will send troops to fight there. And Traoré said, welcome. So my point being is that the French are admitting that they want to recolonize the Sahel. So now it's very justified in those military guys saying you won't do it. And their citizens are backing them. You can always tell if you're forcing your citizens to back you or if it's real. These guys were raising Russian and Chinese flags. The reason they're doing that is because they know that these countries now control their own uranium. France was getting the uranium and buying it for 22 cents and selling it for $212.
Sure, that's exploitation.
It's slavery. It's slavery. But now the money from those things will go to the populations there. If not, their citizens would not be supporting them. What's your thought, Warif? Yeah.
Like what you said, everything is not by force. The French government, if they are supporting these countries, they'll benefit from them. And indirectly, they're using it to fight against some countries that are supporting the French government.
Yeah.
So everything is just politics. Gradually, it will reveal itself.
Yeah.
But ECOWAS know that Africa is a blessed country. Africa has things that these people they need. So they should work as a team, even if these guys are military. The military might not be there for life, but just give them time. Give them time.
But here's the problem: the ECOWAS countries like Nigeria, our resources belong to IMF because of loans and stuff, and we need to break away from that. We need to break away from it because Nigeria is suffering right now. And here's the thing: how can you suffer? Remember they say everything did nyafu nyafu. How can you suffer in a country where there's oil, there's everything, and we're suffering? So we need to ask ourselves. Yeah, so Tinubu is representing IMF. That's all I have to say. Continue, Warif.
And he's the chairman of ECOWAS.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
You see, what are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Warif. Continue.
Like I said, ECOWAS is a selfish state. Like during the Liberia war, they used Nigerian troops just for their selfish interest. And as they're doing that, they are killing innocent soldiers. So they should just allow peace to win. That's just it. Apply diplomacy in everything they do.
Yeah. And my thing is that I don't see Nigeria sending troops to Israel or even to help Ukraine. The thing is, stay out of your business unless it affects you directly. Nigeria and these countries,
we have enough battle to fight in Nigeria.
And we have to fight. We have to fight Boko Haram. And by the way, it's been proven that a lot of money from Boko Haram comes from France, Britain, and the US. Am I lying? Afolabi? It's indirect. It's not direct though. Yeah.
Of course, I agree with you. And I like to use Rwanda as a case study. The genocide in Rwanda in 1994 was as a result of years of resentment and racial discrimination that were planted in the people by the Belgians and the French. And that ultimately led to the genocide in 1994. They made those people look like as if they were different. They made Tutsis superior to the Hutus. And over the years...
Very sorry, Afolabi. They were actually the same people. It'll almost be like you and me, where you're about, but now the French and the other people say, okay, you are this, you're that. So you're taking the same people and creating a new tribe that has no historical basis. Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. They now raise one tribe higher than the other, saying that, okay, maybe Mustafa, your tribe is more intelligent than Afolabi's tribe. And then there was deep resentment over the years. And it led to that genocide, and it was a bloodbath. At the end of the day,
500,000 people, and the US didn't send any troops.
So it's because of this kind of thing that this Sahel allowance is trying to, frustrate. They want internal security, and they want a resistance against imperial external powers. And if you look at Ecowas, Ecowas is divided. They're not united. There are people in Ecowas that share the same sentiments as the Sahel alliance. Yes, like Cote d'Ivoire. Those people are even begging them to come back to Ecowas. But those guys are refusing. They don't like, now ECOWAS doesn't want to look weak. They are now imposing sanctions on those Sahel, sectors. So I don't think it will work. It's just the beginning of a regional crisis that may spiral out of control.
You know what's similar? So what's similar is that in Europe, Hungary belongs to NATO. So Hungary said, "Nah, lie, we're not going to put sanctions on Russia because it helps our economy." And the EU president said, "Don't try it because you're part of the EU and we will block you." Hungary said, "Then we can leave the EU because you can't overstep our rights." And this is the same issue we have in Nigeria with federal government and state government. We need to know where the boundaries are. You can't, on certain things, not everything, but on certain things. Continue, Afolabi. Thank you.
Of course. In fact, what you said is so apt and so very useful in our discussion, because remember when the Niger crisis was going on, and Tinubu was going to drag Nigeria into war.
And send troops there for what?
Yes, and citizens of Nigeria were saying, no, we're not going to do this. Our personal interest as a country supersedes whatever it is ECOWAS wants to do, even though you are the chairman. So it's the same thing. At the end of the day, every country has to look after himself, and no regional community can, supersede the personal interest of the people. And the populace are most important. And if you look at these democratic regimes, they are just as corrupt as these military regimes.
And I will also say, so Warif, you said Nigerian military are civilian in they wear their soldiers with
civilian uniform.
Uniform.
But it's very clear that with Burkina Faso and these guys, no, they are actually military men. And they have, until they prove that they're corrupt, my thing is that they're securing the country. And this trial, but I'm pretty sure that they are backed by China and Russia. That's clear. That's why
you see the military guys, they know that they cannot they won't dance to the tune of ECOWAS when it comes to finance and corruption. That's why they want them out, so that they can benefit. And also the ECOWAS states, mostly colonized by the British, indirectly the Britons or the British, they're using them.
Yeah, and the British they're controlling Nigeria. And
pushing them, being behind.
And what I want to say is that what Nigeria and Burkina Faso and what's the other one? Is it Guinea? Yeah. What they have done, whether we like their military or not, we have to respect them because they showed no respect for the French. The French have killed millions of people. They killed Lumumba. They killed Lumumba. They destroyed Rwanda. They have stolen all the wealth from Togo and Benin, and they've used those people. So they didn't kill the French. They told them to peacefully leave. So we have to remember that they didn't kill anybody, and they had I think their coup was they had a bloodless coup. Nobody was killed.
Yes, they didn't use force at all.
Unlike the Europeans who killed Gaddafi and destroyed Libya. So what we want to say is they haven't.
They were after their oil.
After the oil, and they destroyed the whole country because of oil. And now the immigrant crisis in Europe is caused because of Libya, because they destabilized Libya. So there are more immigrants going to Europe and more terrorists. because the terrorists are like, oh, I saw my mother die in Libya, so I'm going to show people in Europe, and they cross, and now Europe isn't safe. So the point I'm trying to make, same thing with the U.S. The U.S. caused wars in South America, and now we have drug violence in America. It's because we went to another country and we destroyed it. So a lot of them had to flee to our countries, and then they caused violence. Same thing. If Nigeria went to war with Ghana and started killing Ghanaians, they'll flee into Nigeria, and then we'll have a problem. You understand what I'm saying? So we should leave other countries unless they are a direct threat. And like you said, Afolabi, Nigeria wanted to send troops to Nigeria because they want to have an oil pipeline from Nigeria to Spain to France. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Afolabi? Then we'll go to
yeah. There was a deal. There was a deal to lay some kind of pipeline that will go through Niger, from Nigeria all the way, that can help them to supply petroleum products to Europe. I think it goes.
Sorry, because they put sanctions on Russia, so they don't have cheap Russian oil. So they want to steal our oil. Continue.
Yes, exactly. So the whole idea of this is to have a monopoly on the Commonwealth of West African states. And if you look at these imperialist countries, they don't want West African states to have political stability because they thrive on corrupt regimes. They thrive on corrupt regimes. And if you look at these military guys that have formed an alliance, the people are in support of them because they know that even though they're military men, they're not as corrupt as some other democratic presidents in West Africa. So they have the support of their people. And if you look at the economic indices for some of these countries, it's actually been going up gradually ever since.
It's going up because they're using their uranium.
Yes, because
they're getting fair market value. Like I said, France was giving them 22 cents. 22 cents is zero naira. 22 cents.
That's slavery.
Yes, France is uranium.
France was selling per gram, but France is selling it for $200 per gram.
That's exploitation and slavery.
Yeah. So, and also, if you listen to Traore, he said that France are terrorists because they're threatening to attack us now. And he said also they are colonials and we will decolonialize ourselves. So even though he's a military person, he's using the right language. But now, probably he's corrupt, but at least he knows that if not for the support of his people, he will go down. So he needs to give his people something. This is what China and Russia do. They are authoritarian countries, but they make sure their citizens have free healthcare, free university, free schools, no crime, so that the citizens won't throw. And if I want to chop, let me make sure that the small people chop small too.
Yeah, sure.
So we all know everybody is corrupt.
So they can
everybody's corrupt.
Loyal.
Yeah. So if you want to be loyal, so if I chop $10 billion, at least let me make sure everybody has university and everything. Then they won't shout when I have Lexus and they have Toyota.
Yes,
I'm serious.
And the citizens are clamoring for good governance. It's not about, of course, democratic rule is good, but when democratic rule is even more corrupt than military rule. Yes, when people want good governance, that's all.
Yeah, and Afolabi, I'm going to give you a new theory of democracy. Democracy actually means the will of the people. So right now, it doesn't mean just voting. In the Sahel countries, the people are happy that there's military. It's kind of like, Afolabi, if someone comes to your house with your family and they attack your family with machine guns, but I have a good army, you can tell me, Moose, please come in my house for now and kick these people out. You get my point? Because you can't protect yourself. So the way I look at it is that the military in these countries right now is these people's only hope, because France, that place is terrible. The Sahel is terrible. All of the uranium they have, and people still live in tin shacks. And we have to remember, this is true, Afolabi. Remember when Gaddafi was alive, in Libya, if you get married, the government gives you $20,000.
Oh, they do.
And in Libya, you don't have to pay for petrol if you're a citizen.
No.
So fact, even though,
as a young graduate, there are a lot of emoluments that are put to you.
Yeah, but even though Gaddafi was corrupt, but he made sure if you get married, they give you $20,000. You don't pay for university, and you don't pay for fuel. Very simple. Yeah. So we're going to round up soon. What are your last thoughts, everybody? We'll start with Warith. Yeah.
ECOWAS should give peace a chance and respect the opinion of those soldiers and the citizens. It's just because of their selfish interest. That's why they're putting pressure on those military guys. They should allow them be with time. It's just about dialogue. So they should allow
dialogue,
them be.
Yeah. Yeah, and they can still do dialogue with them, but we don't want to see Black people killing each other like in Kenya. You know, they've already kidnapped many of those Kenyan policemen who went to Haiti. Can you imagine, as a Kenyan man, your president tells you to go to Haiti, then you die there? What will your family say? They'll say, "Why is my son dying in Haiti?" Do you understand what I'm saying, Afolabi?
And then your president has some dollars in his account for that.
No, and you got to have dinner with Biden. No, Afolabi, imagine they go to your son and say, Nigeria, we're sending your son to Haiti to fight. What will you say? It's not your business. It's not my child. It's okay if my child dies to defend Nigeria, even though that's sad too. But why must we send people halfway across the world? So Afolabi, you're going to end us today. Thank you very much. This has been a very good episode so far. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I feel the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso they all know what they faced under imperialist, colonialist rule. So I think they should leave them to do whatever it is they want to do. When they settle down as a region, they can now begin to look at democracy again. But for now, we shouldn't topple the apple cart. I think they should just leave them that way. And it's on this note that we'll round up. You still want to say something, Moose?
No, very quickly, then you round up. So right now the world is in danger. So we need to have the junta to run those areas. But afterwards, those guys need to restore democracy, but only until the world is safer. So you can finish. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so on another episode, we'll still be looking at contemporary African issues. It's been a wonderful time with Warif and Mustafa. Thank you very much for your audience, fans from around the world. Like, share, and subscribe. Global Politics. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for you guys. We'll see you later. Okay.